Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. I'm Jennings Bernard, your host, as always. You can catch me each and every day right here on Facebook Live, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. or whenever I am available. Welcome in. Tell a friend, tell their friend, tell the truth and shame the devil who's on the air. We're happy to have you today as always. We really, I'm getting tongue tied. Really appreciate you. I'm just gonna say it. I am enjoying being retired. You know, I laid back all these last weekend or so, just chilling, just doing what I want to do. Wife making uh, good old beef stew with potatoes, carrots, and something she slicked in on me that I don't normally eat. She slicked in some of that okra. And a lot of people like that okra, but I could never eat okra. My grandmother used to try to make me eat okra. She would lay it on the plate and said, "Baby, eat that okra. And okra is good for you." But in a nutshell, the okra was too slimy for me. My brothers and sisters, they ate it up, but they could never get me to eat it. And I sit there and ate that stew, and I said to my wife, "This is a little different. It's tasting better than it normally tastes." I said, "What did you do different?" She said, "Well, I put some okra in this soup this time." And for a moment, I paused. And then I thought about my grandmother when she used to say, "This okra is good." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I ate the okra, ate several bowls, excuse me, of soup. I enjoyed it. But I still just can't eat okra on a plate by itself. Now, y'all tell me if y'all eat okra. There's a lot of you probably enjoy eating it. But I say now I can eat it if it's in Hearst beef soup because it added a whole different flavor. You know what we do here? We talk business, legal, social, finance, whatever affects you, we talk about it. And hey, we welcome you in. I was just thinking about that, laying back today, and I did a lot of sleeping today and wanted to catch up on some things, but didn't catch up on it. It was just cold. I went outside and for a minute and thawed out the ice that was on the car. What did you do today? Um, Wonder you can tell me if you laid around and were you enjoying being off or were you ready for the children to get out of the house and go back to school? And I've seen a lot of parents say, "Well, I enjoy my kids, but it's time for them to go back to school." Hey, you know the number 901-288-5779. We may not be long today, but I have to drop in and let you know what's up and coming. Tomorrow, I will be going down to the election commission to pull those names who are going to run for these various positions. And we will be talking to them and trying to find out if they're really in the race to stay in the race or if you're going to pull out the race. We need to know that. And if you're willing to come by and speak to the people on this broadcast, well, I look forward to you each and every day. And let's get started. let's get busy and make sure I got everything set up here because I'm in one of those moods today. You know when it's just a little cold and look like it's getting down to what they call getting down to the bone. Yeah, that's one of those days with me. Excuse me. Let me get over to this tea. I got to have this tea because this tea kind of opens me up. Uh, my wife had me drinking this tea, this green tea, and all of this. But some of it has good taste, others not so much. But it does something for me and makes me feel a whole lot better. I'm still battling. If you can recognize and hear that my voice is not the same, but we've been dealing with this a couple of weeks now. I don't know, or more than a couple of weeks, and we're gonna pull it through all of this by the grace of God. I want to send out a notice to a good friend of mine, brother, former lieutenant on the Memphis Police Department. He's retired as well, and a veteran, Ron Poe. Uh, want to make sure that you're okay. I read where you had an accident falling off the ladder, my brother, but all is well. We hope that your MRI will turn out on the X-ray, as you said, uh, that you having back problem. I know to get to the point, ladies and gentlemen, when we get to the age up in age, you have to be careful. You know, I remember the last snowstorm. It was last year. We had a hot, heavy snowstorm. I didn't fall this year. I was able. I took it easy, but last year I went in the back twice to do something. I can't recall what it was I was out there doing. Full of snow. Walked out there in the back and slipped up. Bam. Well, I kind of give credit to knowing how to fall when I was on my way down because it goes back to the years of playing football. You had to know how, when you're going to get hit, as a running back, I got hit running the football. And it come to the point that you know you're going to be hit. You brace yourself and you fall a certain way. And lucky, I did fall, but I didn't fall enough to hurt myself. Fell twice last year. Sometimes you get up the next day and you feel it, the pain, but I didn't. And I thank God that that didn't. But sometimes you can get, like Brother Poe did, got on the ladder, fell, and hurt his back, and didn't realize he had hurt his back until he got to the VA. And he went there, and the MRI didn't show it at first, but then when he went back, when the pain got worse, he ended up seeing something dealing with the second vertebrae, and he's going back again. But we want you to pray for him that everything works out for him as we do that. Not only him, to everybody who has fallen, everybody who is sick and in the hospital, nursing homes, or wherever they may be on their sick bed of affliction. We pray for them that everything is well. We pray for those who are in their right mind and those who are not in their right mind. And pay attention, pay close attention to what's going on in your family as well as your neighbors and neighborhood because there's a lot of people that are walking around here with mental illness, mental problems. And I think the worst thing, and I said this before, that they ever did in Memphis, Tennessee, with the leadership then and leadership now, that they're not providing facilities here locally instead of in Bolivar, Tennessee, that really helps deeply, like MMH and I used to be right there at the corner of Poplar and Dunlap. But the hospital has expanded and took over that area. But we do need a facility uh, in this town like we used to have at Poplar and Dunlap because there's a lot of people that are having mental illness issues, and it's a crisis. Uh, you know, you wake up and you're in your right mind, and something triggers, and you may no longer be in your right mind. And I used to hear the old people, my grandmother said, "Thank you, Lord, for waking me up and clothing and dressing me in my right mind." And there's something to that. It's something that could happen to you, and you can just be out of your mind through the stress, through disappointment, through love affair, the breakup, all of that is just that small thing can have you on one side and fall on the other side. Just one thing. So pray for each other that God would keep us physically, mentally, socially, because we are out of control. We can no longer depend on leadership. First of all, above all things, before leadership, you should put God in front to lead you, to guide you, and to direct you. And get a connection, ladies and gentlemen, some of us, because we are so disappointed in things that happen to us and we're not strong enough to deal with life and understand that life has its ups and downs. You may be good one day and you may not be good the next day, but you got to be strong and have the faith in God that can pull you through. Lord knows there's been some good things that have happened to me, and I'm blessed and I'm grateful. And there has been some very strong disappointment in people that I know that have lied to me, told me one thing and did another, but because of the connection that I have with God and the faith that I have in Him, you can't bother me. Don't know what's around the corner tomorrow, but I think that I know I have the faith in God and the faith that He will build that hedge around me and allow me to be as strong as I am. Allow me to believe in Him that He will pull me through no matter what situation it is, no matter what they say about me. I'm strong enough because His will pull me through as well as pulling you through. And see, when you don't have that faith and that connection in God, then when you have a crisis and you look like you can't get nothing done, you look like you can't turn in any direction and there's no help, but there's always help. And there's always someone out there to help you with the connection also that they have in God and you have in God. Never give up. Never give up. I don't care what the situation is. Never give up. And I hope I helping somebody to believe that when you give up, it's over. Never give up because God got you spiritually. He got you mentally. It's all about your faith and how much pressure you can or you cannot take that makes you fall into that trap, into that ditch. And you believing in politicians and not believing in God, you will fail every time. Sometimes my faith is so strong when I get up in the morning and I think about how good he has been to me and realize, in spite of the ups and downs, he's always there for me. And that's why I can stand here, sit here, boldly as a lion and never fleece like sheep because I know he has me. And if by chance I slipped and fall, I still will never give up the faith. You have to keep the faith, ladies and gentlemen, and get to the point that God helped those who help themselves. I'll say it again because I believe that. A lot of things I depended on God to help me through my faith. I knew I had to get up and do something. I had to do the work to get the blessing. You know, he sent a raven down and he brought food to the prophet. But those days by him physically doing it himself is no more. He do it now through other faithful servants to help you. And sometimes we all need help, whether it's physically, mentally, socially. We need that help. And it's a blessing to get those help from those who are in the faith. Now, understand something. You may not get the help, the faith from those who are not faithful. And you look at doing things that they want you to do that end up putting you in a position that will tear you down. Lean and look toward the hill from which your help cometh. Understand and know that your help comes from God Almighty if you have the faith. You have to keep doing what you're doing. Keep believing that He's going to pull you through, and He will pull you through. You know, He said, cattle on 1,000 hills all belong to me. And He said, if you got to ask me, tell me what you want, and I'll open up the windows of heaven and pour you out blessing that you don't have room to receive. And you got to believe it. Somebody asked me once, and more than once, twice, man, how do you stay as strong and as faithful as you do? When people say things to you in regard to post or whatever, how do you do it? I can take anything. But one thing that I will not take. And he said, what is that? Putting your hands on me. Then that's a whole different story. So I can take anything you say. Because I know how to say things back to you that you think you hurt my feelings. I know how to hurt your feelings. But I hope we never get to that point because I often say we can disagree without being disagreeable. We can do a lot of things, but never put your hand on anyone. Don't put your hand on a woman no matter what she says or what you do. You are a man. And women, I've heard people tell you and have you to believe that you deserve more than what a man deserves. And I say that's false. I said that a marriage and a relationship is equal partners. Whatever a woman deserves, the man also deserves the same thing because you are a partner in a relationship. And when you think you deserve more than the other partner that make up the relationship, then you are being misled by somebody who don't know what you know they talking about. But this is the time that we got to get back as a community, as a family. When you look around and you see people that's walking in the park, enjoying their family, and you wonder why you can't do that with your family, because there's a disconnect in the family. The head, as the scripture says, is the man. The woman is his helpmate. But nowadays we have gotten to the point that women think that they are now head of the family even when there is a man in the family. And partially that is the man's fault because he had not proven himself to be what he's supposed to be, and that is the head of the family. I'm saying this today because I'm going in another direction, and every now and then I'll sprinkle a little politics in it. But somehow, as I look around and I see the community, when young people go out and rob and steal, I didn't grow up with that as bad as it is today. And some of you people may know what I'm talking about. You know, when you brought something home and your grandmother, your mother and father asked you, "Where did you get that?" And you said, "I found it." If they didn't get it for you, they would immediately say, "You take that back where you found it." Because if I didn't get it for you, you can't bring it here to this house. I told a story a while back about me finding what I thought as a young kid a bicycle. Didn't have a tire, but it was down, thrown in the ditch, and I pulled it out of the ditch and I took it home. And the first thing my grandmother and my mother saw, they said, "Where did you get that?" I said, "Well, I found it." And she said, "Well, where did you find it?" I said, "It was down there in a ditch." And my grandmother and mother said to me, "Take that back where you found it." And I did. Put it back in the ditch where it was. And I was talking to my father about that. And I remember him saying, "Son, you got to understand, somebody needed a front tire off of a bike that they stole. They didn't want anything else but that front tire. And here you went and got the bike, brought it to this house. And if I had gotten you a front tire for that, somebody saw that bike and could prove that that was their bike, they would have said you stole it." And I never forgot that. I taught my children the same thing by being who I am and being the head of the house. There are some things that they like that I did. There's probably some things that was wrong in what I told them they was going to do and not do because I was raised that way. And it hurts me to see young people that are robbing, carjacking, murdering, filling up the jail that they will never ever see the freedom again as they know it. They're going to be in jail for 30 years. And you might as well say that's a life sentence. If they're 30 years old and they're 40 years old, you just got a life sentence. After 30 years in jail, you will be institutionalized. Everything would, as you know it, 30 years is a long time. And then if you survive that 30 years, you got to come out and try to make up. And because you've been institutionalized, there's nothing that you can do outside. People that you may know are gone, but yet you out here trying to survive because of the mistakes that you made in your youth. And I'm saying this because if I could just help somebody, as I travel alone, if I can help somebody with a word or so, then my living shall not be in vain. And what I want to say to the young people today, I want you to understand you can do better. If you desire, if you want better, you can do better. There's so many things you can do. There are millionaires who are plumbers. There are millionaires who are electricians. There are millionaires who are tile setters. My father raised us. He was a tile setter for 47 years before he got sick and he left us. But he provided us not sitting behind a desk. He was not a CEO, wore a suit every day. But what he did, he got up and he learned the trade. And he survived. And for 68 years, probably worked himself to death. But he had to take care of a wife, his mother, his wife, aunt, and all six of his children because he had a desire to be what he should be, and that was the head of the house and a man. He took care of us until he left us. But I'm saying this to you, you can go out today and say, I'm going to change the way I do things. I'm going to try, and I'm not going to give up. Doors may be shut in your face, but you keep the faith and keep pushing. Sooner or later, it's going to happen for you. I'd rather see you out there pushing, trying to make it, as opposed to you being incarcerated for the rest of your life. You hear a lot of this don't do on Facebook. I sit there, and because of the experience that I've had most of my life in law enforcement, and I know better. And they put scenarios out there, and you have these jackleg wannabe lawyers or think they know the law and pushing things out there that tell you that you ought to do this. But when I'm sitting here and witnessing courtroom procedure, witnessing being in patrol, and I'm telling you that the thing that you are doing, not because of what I heard, I'm telling you because what I experienced as a peace officer, a law enforcement officer, as a probation owner, business, the things that I've seen people got into that messed them up, that they was on probation. And I got all of this experience. And when I hear the conversation, and the conversation goes in the realm of what you should do and not do, and I tell them about the experience, they laugh at that. They'll say, oh, old school, it's a new day. We're doing it a different way. Well, it may be a new day, and you're doing it a different way. It may cost you your life, and it may cause you to be incarcerated. So dust off your shoes. Get ready to make a difference in your life because you can. While you're young, you can set the course of being successful. And your buddies and old folks that you run with, and they try to tell you, man, we want to have a quick fast and inherit. Two things gonna happen to you. You're either gonna be killed one way or another, or you're gonna be incarcerated one way or another because of what you did. And I'm saying to you, I'm giving you a chance. I'm giving you an opportunity to make a difference in your life. Some people did wanted to count me out, but I knew God has me, and because of my back, He always had my back, and because He had my back, I was able to do the things that I've done. And I give all the credit to Him because in life, sometimes my head was hard, my temper was hot, hotter than it is now. But I understood some things. And I learned because I listened to the wise people who had been there and done that. My grandmother used to say something all the time. What were you been? What you been into? And I said, nothing. She said, boy, listen to me. Whatever you call yourself doing, I've done it at least 2 or 3 times. I said, what? She said, yeah. Understand, I've done it a couple of times. And I remember that, and I laugh at it sometime. I go in there. And she would always ask me when I left the house, where you going? I said, I'm going over to so-and-so. You be careful now. And she would always say that, and I would be mindful of what she said. And when I would be out, and I would see things that shouldn't be done or be around, I remember her saying, you be careful. And because she said that, to this day, I understand what she meant to be careful. And she used to always say, ladies and gentlemen, trouble is so easy to get into, but it's hard to get out of. And boy, was she telling the truth. I've seen a lot of my friends who've gotten in trouble at the early days, and it was hard for them to get out. I've seen them go to penitentiary and stay there for years, 20 years, to get out. And they were so institutionalized, they went back to doing things that put them in jail for 20 years, and they went back. And found that when they couldn't no longer be in prison, they got sick, and the state let them come out because they didn't have too much longer to live. But it's been institutionalized all of their life. And I don't want that to happen to you young people. I want you to be smart. I want you to wake up and say, I'm going to take and do something with my life. And I'm going to make a difference. I want to make sure that if I have any children, I want my children to be proud of me. I want my children to understand that what I say goes because I'm displaying that leadership in front of them so they can understand what I say goes. And when they grow up and they're talking to their children, your children, that you can say the same thing to make a difference in their life. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to take this time today, just for a little while, just to talk to you. It's time for us to change the way we do business in our community, the young people. See, somebody needed this talk. Somebody didn't have anybody that they could talk to like I'm talking to you right now. And because they didn't have anybody, there was nobody there truly to sit down and talk to them. I'm doing it today. I'm talking to you because I want you to be better than you were yesterday. This old life winding change, as my grandmother used to say, is going to be winding up on you sooner or later. And what you've done for Christ is last. See, you can be in the pulpit and be the biggest hypocrite. It will be all about you and not about the people that you're preaching the gospel to. Your winding chain is going to wind up to the point that you're going to realize what you didn't do as opposed to what you're supposed to do as a preacher. Everything that involves our community, you are supposed to be in the front part of it, like the preachers did back in the day of the civil rights movement. You are that leadership, that light that sits on the hill, preachers, that cannot be hidden because when they see you, they're going to say, there go Reverend so-and-so. There go Pastor so-and-so. And when they say that, they're saying it with respect. And you need to show the leadership of the respect that they're showing you. But when you get out here and you're acting like you're a pimp, you're dressing like you're a pimp, You're talking like you're a pimp. Then they see that. Well, Pastor so and so said this, Pastor so and so dressed like this. And they think that's what they're supposed to do because they're looking at the leadership, whether it be political, whether it be social. The leadership role is there for a reason. And if you find yourself in that position, whether it's pastor, politician, whatever, you owe respect to the people that you're over. And when you don't, that's when I say you gotta go. You've got to go. And as we see the politics in this city, we see the backstabbing and misusing of the position. We see the poor representation that's not being given to the constituents. You are a joke. You are a clown because you failed to do what you're supposed to do. And what we're going to do, and as I close here today, we're going to do our best to take you out of office because you have failed us. And you should never be in office ever, ever, never again because you didn't do the work. I'm Jennings Bernard. You've been listening to Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil. Tomorrow we have something different to say, but my spirit today, as I look and see that God put a pause in all of this killing and robbing and stealing through this snow. But now that the snow has lifted, people are robbing, stealing, and killing. He gives you the opportunity to think about it, what you did and what you didn't do during these last 2 weeks when you were snowbound. If you didn't take that time to make that connection with God, if you haven't made it, you should have made it. And I pray for you that you young people will change your life. You have to be hard sometimes. You have to be true all the time. You ought to be willing to give all the time. I'm Jennings Bernard. In the words of my grandmother, she always said, if it's the Lord's will and the creek don't rise, we'll see you on tomorrow. But remember something I said. Trust everyone, but do not trust the devil inside of them. Subscribe to this program. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and X, and we'll be able to simulcast together on our Facebook page here soon at MemphisRealTalk.com. MemphisRealTalk.com, and share these videos. God bless you. May He keep you until we assemble together by way of this program. God bless you and good evening.